I'm interviewing Officer Keith Welch from Chandler Fire Department. He is the Battalion Chief and Public Information Officer at the Chandler Fire Department. So, what key life experiences have formed who you are today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One of the things that happened when I was 13 is my dad had a stroke.
Oh.
And so he was in probably his late 40s at that time, 48ish, somewhere in there. And me being 13, me being the only child, I had a role I had to step into as kind of the, it's not necessarily man of the house, because my dad still survived another 13, 15 years after that. I think it really set a foundation of me being able to be flexible, me learning a lot of little things, kind of learning a little about a lot. And I think that really helps in the profession that I chose. So I moved to the city of Chandler in 1982. I went to Chandler schools, went to Chandler Junior High, Chandler High School. So at that point, when you start in that community, and it was really small back then. Right? It's really, it's obviously, grown quite a bit since then. And so you start to build relationships, right? You start to become integrated in the community in just so many ways, whether it's through sports, friends, jobs, all that. So that's kind of how it really began. One of the things I kind of talked a little bit about is about probably flexibility, open-mindedness, agreeable. I'd say empathetic. I've given you a lot of words. I'd say empathetic. Another thing is loyal, dependable. So I've been around the city a long time, and the city itself has been a well-run city. Makes our city great, its parks, right? Its service. Yeah. The other thing is just the diversity of the city. There's a couple of organizations that I belong to. It is Children's Cancer Network. I'm involved in that. They are in our city, but they do affect people outside of our city, as well as Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And I really interact with the neighborhood services quite a bit, or community services in special event planning and support. And the last thing is the nonprofits within our city. Yeah, well, so one of the things with our job, and it was appealing to me, is the aspect of team.
Yes.
The fire chief that I grew up next door to. His name's Jim Roxburgh. He is he actually was the fire chief. That's where he ended. When I first met him, he was, I think he was assistant chief or battalion chief, but he worked his way up too. But there's a couple ways. I mean, your education level is great, insight. But how do you contribute? I would say that we have several volunteer programs here. One is car seat installation. One is smoke detector installation. They also have another one that they're looking at to basically help support some of the stuff that needs to be moved around from station to station. And then there's another one that it's not started yet that they're looking at to do in-home safety checks, like for fall prevention.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So an avenue for someone with a background, a higher education background, is get involved with those programs, and then probably help develop, how do we collect some data? How do we look at its effectiveness? Are we making changes? Right? And then reevaluating that. And so I think that's a real, we could always use, and that's just evident in what we do, just analysis of data, and through different lenses. And sometimes it's good when you don't know anything, because you come in with this totally fresh perspective. It's doing okay. Yeah. You come in with this totally fresh perspective because you don't know anything.
Right. Yeah. So it's a new pair of eyes in the
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
So those are some avenues that the students or people, obviously with education, or just the initiative to want to give back to the community.
Yes.
That's the way to use them.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much
No
for
worries.
your time.